Hey guys, it's Michael. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to show you the 3 main mistakes that athletes do on planche push-ups. So stay tuned for the video. When we're looking at planche push-ups, there are 2 categories of mistakes that we can figure out. The first one and the most important ones are compensations of the horizontal line. With lever skills or dynamic lever skills, we always want to stay on that horizontal line because that line is the hardest position that we can stay in. So this is considered clean form. That's just the convention that we need to use to make lever skills comparable. And the second one is that the positive and the negative part of the movement need to have the same path. So summing that up, if you see an athlete moving joints of the horizontal line, or if you see an athlete having a different positive than negative movement, you can consider this as a mistake or a compensation of that movement, and this then needs correction. If you want to learn how you can spot these mistakes and what you need to do once you spot them to get rid of them, that is something that we will explain you in our coaching service with the certification program for calisthenics trainers that we have. So definitely make sure to visit kingofweighted.com, book your free consulting call, get all the information that you need, and then start learning, start developing, and start progressing. Okay, now let's take a look at the clean form first. I hope it gets as clean as it is in my head. What I'm focusing now on is exactly those 2 things. So first, aligning my body on the horizontal line and trying to have the negative as well as the positive movement in the same path of the shoulder and of the hips. So I'm using an advanced type variation here because that is something that I can do safe and I can actually execute it with a pretty clean form. So let's hope it also works. So getting in position. And now I'm checking the video and hopefully that was a clean form. Okay, after checking the video, I can say I was pretty happy with the form, and that is something you can consider close to perfect or perfect form. So now let's start with mistake number 1 that I often see, and that is that athletes losing the hip height during the planche push-ups, especially on the positive part of the movement. So mistake number 1 looks like this. Athlete starting perfect, and on the way down, hips are dropping, and they're pushing up with reduced leverage and pushing the hips back up. Hips go down to make the positive easier, and then they push hips up again. If that happens, that's definitely a mistake you should avoid because you're reducing the leverage on your shoulder. Mistake number 2 that you often can see is exactly the opposite. So your hip stays in position or is even a bit too high and only the shoulders are moving down. Principle is the same. Why athletes are doing this is because they want to reduce the leverage that is attached on the shoulder. How you can figure out which leverage is attached to which joint, that is also a course that we offer in our coaching service. So make sure to check the link in the description. So how does that form mistake looks like? So we're starting again in planche position. Now hip stays high or stationary and only the shoulder moves down. Like this. And this is something that happens a lot and that you also definitely should avoid. Mistake number 3 is a mistake that athletes love to do, not only on planche push-ups but also on planche holds itself, and that is skipping the full arm extension, so carrying the load in the planche position on the straight arm. And this mistake is pretty crucial because the transfer from planche push-ups and planche holds itself to the final element is not pretty good if you're skipping the hardest part, which is the straight arm. And if you're always training on a bent arm, you also will get better only on the bent arm. So guys, train specific, do not skip the straight arm. So how does that mistake look like? Starting in planche position and then skipping the hardest part, which is the lockout here on top. And as I said, that is something that you should definitely avoid.